Shout out to a random subscriber, Josh P. Thank you for joining us and enjoy the show. Have you ever been invited to a party or an event and you honestly wanted to go, but the fear of making a mistake or saying something awkward brought you to the point of sweating profusely, breathing shallow, and your heart is racing? That's a typical sign that you are shy. Now, there's a difference between being shy and being an introvert. An introvert is something like you can go out with other people, but the more you're around large groups, or the larger the group, the more or the faster you feel like your energy is draining and that you have no energy left to be around other people. And when you go by yourself and just relax, read a book, go home and lay down, that your energy is recharged and you can go out and continue the same thing the next round, and it makes it as if you are not even fazed by it. Being shy is kind of a mental thing where you want to get beyond it, but there is some hang-up that's holding you from it. It could be the fear of saying something wrong. It could be the fear of doing something wrong entirely. Maybe having nothing to say. Maybe being rejected. And those are all perfectly natural things. At the same time, those are things that you can rise above. Now, one thing to consider is, do you know all the factors? When my wife and I had our first child, I didn't know what to do. We had a newborn, and I thought that if I turned wrong, if I held her in the wrong way, that I would break her with the slightest gust of wind. Now, let it be said that children are a little bit more physically delicate than a fully grown adult. However, children are a lot more resilient than I actually knew, and taking the little things that the nurse care was showing us helped me get beyond that simple hang-up of being shy, not knowing what the unknown truly was. It's okay to ask for help, even though you are placed in a position that it seems like you're alone. You're not. There's a good chance that someone else has already done the exact same thing that you have, and there's a lot more ability to ask for help. I remember years ago, it was high school Spanish class. We were in groups of 4 or 5, and we were to come up with some idea to make things better. Now, I thought that I had a pretty good idea, but I was too apprehensive to say it myself, at which point I vocalized it to the group, and they encouraged me to say something, yet I wasn't ready at that time. So the group leader, Justin Blatt, he decided that he wanted to say it for me. And after the class was saying, yeah, that's a great idea, we should definitely do that, he pointed it toward me and said it was his idea, not mine. You can always ask for help. Another thing to remember is why. Remember why you want to do that, why you want to go there, what you want to get from it, and how you want to excel. There are other things that you can consider, but what do you want to do, and why do you want to do those things? Why don't you put that in the comments below? I'd love to hear. Make mistakes. It's okay that you make mistakes. We're gonna make them. You might as well get them over with, and the more often you make mistakes, the more you're gonna learn from it. I remember living in Portugal, and I needed to go to the store and buy some Christmas bags, some Christmas gift bags that you'd commonly put whatever you wanted in for the guests. I didn't know exactly what to ask for, and the Spanish came out. And as I went to the man to ask for assistance, I said, "Do you have any Christmas purses?" Now he laughed. He walked away. He came back, and he said, in Portuguese, I think you meant Christmas bags, but you said Christmas purses, and that's why I was laughing. From that, I learned the difference between Spanish and Portuguese. They might seem like they're close, but they're absolutely not the same. And I made the mistake. And what's the worst that happened? I gave him just a little bit to remember. I remembered it. He got a laugh, and I will not forget that moment. Practice. Practice as much as you can to do those things. How do you get better at doing something? Practice. If you feel like you need to speak to someone in this practice, talk to someone that you can confide with, talk to a good friend of yours, someone close, maybe a family member, and practice. Make it as if you're actually doing those things. Like, if it's a job interview, have it a pseudo job interview where that other person who's helping you goes through the motions and asks you questions that you might encounter anyway. If it's a practice speech, public speaking, do the same thing. Practice as if it's them in front of you. Another thing to consider is if you're publicly speaking, try something like have the other person go in the dictionary and pull out a word, and that word is your speaking point, and now you need to pull a thought out of the air and describe it using the word that you have now been chosen. It's okay that you make mistakes, and the more often you practice it, the easier it's going to be. I remember living in Portugal, and I tried to speak the language. I tried to learn it as best as I could, and every time that I would go to a gas station or a grocery store or a restaurant, I would say a new phrase, and the response that I would get, I would follow that to the next conversation, and it would help me build upon it. Even though I didn't necessarily know what they said when they said it, I went back to my house and I researched it. I figured out what they said, and it made a lot more sense after researching it. And I kind of did the same thing when I was learning German with some German speakers. They would say something and I would take that, didn't know why they said it, I would ask them why. I would ask them where they came up with the phrase or why it's being said, and use that for the next one. Little thing about languages, there are times where you encounter something where the native speaker says, I don't know why we say that the way we do. It's always been like that, and that's just how it is. There's no rhyme or reason. The rules do not make sense. We just say it that way. Now, what languages would you like to speak if you felt that you had enough confidence to say it yourself? Why don't you put that in the comments? Always remember that you can get beyond whatever shyness that you have, and you can rise it to the confidence level that you need to get anything that you want in your experience in life. Is it the fear of speaking to the opposite sex? Is it that you feel like you're going to be rejected immediately? I know that that's what I felt, but honestly, there was a book that I read that helped me with that. The book, it has a very specific title, and it seems like it's something specific, but it's so much more than that. The book is called How to Succeed with Women. It's written by Ron Lewis and Dave Copeland. The book basically teaches you how to be a better person. The one thing that I got out of it was I had trouble just saying anything to someone. I felt like I would immediately be rejected, and I felt like that I was never going to excel. One thing I got from the book was every time that I would walk by a woman, I would say, "Hey, what's up?" and I'd keep walking. I didn't really care that they said anything, and if they did say something, it was a bonus, because the mission was just to say it. And after I said it, I won. It's all that mattered. Walk by someone else, hey, how's it going? Keep on walking. And that's perfectly natural, at least in American culture. You can walk by someone, hey, what's up? Hey, how's it going? And keep on walking. That's the entire conversation, and it's no big surprise. If you enjoyed this video and you want more content like this, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell below. This way you can get updated on any time I put out a new video. Don't be shy. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.